Hi everyone, this is Amit from itVARnews.com, and I have got Angel Grant, who is the Vice President Security in F5, with me for a very interesting fireside chat. So she is the person who would brief us about the latest trends in the industry, how exactly the metaverse coming up, and what are the security challenges that metaverse would is likely to put us, and how exactly the metaverse and the security landscape would shape up over the next couple of years. So very warm welcome, Aljil, in this fireside chat.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So first of all, let's begin uh, uh, with the latest thing, which is the 5G rollout in India. So how do you think that 5G is going to redefine the security landscape in India? In India, per se, means in US, they are still at an advanced level. So we in India, we are just beginning with this with the rollout. So how do you think that 5G is going to redefine the security landscape? First thing, and the second thing is, what is the level of preparedness you see among the businesses against the cyber challenges that might come in the 5G era?
Sure. So for the 5G rollout, it is a great opportunity for businesses to explore new business models as well as build out their security structure. There's opportunity to take a look at that and apply how their current models are and where they're going with that so that they can extend their application strategy and continue the digital transformation and build in new business models with that.
Very good. If you see the trends around metaverse, so how do you see metaverse finding relevance among enterprises in India, and what will be the impact of 5G launch on metaverse adoption in India?
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of discussions about what the metaverse is and what it could possibly be and how it actually works, and then what are the other complementing technologies needed to make sure it succeeds, like 5G, among many others, right? So when people think about the metaverse right now, they're really thinking about it being used for gaming and social networking. And India has been a leader as far as helping develop a lot of those applications. However, we are seeing it become a cornerstone for other industries as well, such as entertainment, healthcare, education. So for example, traditional businesses like Nike, who produces sneakers, have launched Swoosh on Web3, where you can buy virtual goods like their crypto kicks, which are NFTs, digital shoes. Financial services, JP Morgan Chase, they launched Onyx Lounge in Decentraland. You're even seeing entertainers like Elton John offering out live entertainment experiences. And countries like Japan and South Korea have plans to extend their public services to the metaverse. For example, allowing your avatar to go to the tax office or access youth counseling. So as organizations migrate, they've migrated from 1.0 to 2.0, now they're going into the Web3 environments. The IT industry must really continue to transform their digital journey, and so that they can stay modern and relevant and adopt those new business models, like I mentioned. And the nice thing is businesses can enjoy the benefits of adopting packaged public cloud technologies and microservices architectures, allowing for faster deployments of services, greater flexibility to respond to changing conditions, and also a rapid scale of new features can be rolled out quickly onto large applications. And so by implementing things like cloud native infrastructure really in their metaverse business model, they can emerge as business leaders and stay ahead of their competition, as well as set up an architecture that allows for flexibility and adoption of new technologies as they emerge and adopt, like 5G.
Very good. Very good. So one thing that we are hearing about metaverse platform is that they are at a greater risk of cybersecurity breaches or attacks. So, as a security expert, what are the cybersecurity concerns do you foresee in the metaverse era?
Mm. So one of the things as we look at what the metaverse can be, we need to ensure that we address the security, privacy, and reliability concerns for it to realize its potential. So it's interesting. F5 recently partnered with YouGov to conduct a survey of about 500 IT decision makers to gain insight on their priorities and concerns as they navigate to Web3. And some really interesting insights came from that. So, for example, 1 in 10 IT decision makers are already operating in the metaverse, and 51% said they're going to plan to be there within 5 years or sooner. And 6 in 10 of the respondents said that the metaverse did introduce security complexities into their organization, that they're concerned that they're not able to support. And then 50% of the decision makers reported that security and privacy risks were impeding their adoption of the metaverse. So it's important to remember that the metaverse requires massive amount of data that ultimately needs to be able to be shared to exist and thrive. And because of this, privacy has become increasingly concerning to a lot of organizations as they're looking at their models. And the main reason for that is users are concerned about their personal information and the usage of it and the reliance of data analytics to transact. So based upon this, most of the cyber attacks we are seeing are exploiting the flexibility and openness of the metaverse. And in the survey, we saw that alarmingly over 1 in 3 organizations have already been attacked in the metaverse. So what this means is that we're already seeing that criminals are continue to be optimistic. They always use disruption to cause disruption. So when new technology comes out, they try to find ways to manipulate that. So that's where it's more of a psychology and economics game versus a technology game, because they're looking for vulnerabilities within the application, people, and processes. And so this is where a lot of the attacks we are seeing is kind of what's old is new. They're just adapting them for the channel. So for example, we're still seeing theft of goods. So we're seeing criminals going in there stealing NFTs or other digital goods, skins, powers, avatars. We're also seeing and anticipating a dramatic growth in the identity theft and identity cloning with deep fakes. And this is because when people are in a digital environment, they let their guard down. They're a little bit more comfortable talking to strangers, which makes them a little bit more vulnerable. And cyber criminals have already figured out how to gamify identity theft, blending both virtual identities and physical identities. There was an interesting study that was done from the Future Privacy Forum that showed just 20 minutes of a VR or virtual reality gaming session can gain over 2 million unique data points. So for example, just getting somebody to engage in a fun dance or game using a VR set, you can easily harvest personal information such as voice, height, wingspan, gender, walking gait, geolocation, which can be used to conduct identity theft in both the digital world and potentially use that information to also create cyber stalkers in the physical world too. Additionally, we're seeing traditional phishing attacks already happening where they're tricking people to download malware, but we're also seeing the morphing of a man-in-the-middle attack, which you saw in the web world, morph into a man-in-the-room type of attack in the virtual world, where criminals will have a digitally generated identity, which ultimately in an attempt to get you to engage to download malware or to take over your infrastructure for a ransomware type of attack. We're also going to continue to see different types of bot attacks, such as the purchasing or inventory hoarding bots that we see out there, which will automatically purchase up NFT drops or tickets or powers or things like that. We'll see bidding bots to game pricing, to either increase pricing or lower pricing. We'll see counterfeit NFT bots, which will put out fake NFTs in the marketplace. And the positive thing after going through all that is that the industry recognizes this is a global challenge. And we're already seeing organizations like Interpol step up and announce their global metaverse police to get ahead of the potential crime that could ultimately come from this.
Oh, that's a scary situation. Means, cybersecurity need to be very strong in order to leverage more on the metaverse landscape. So, how is F5 helping organizations deliver and secure extraordinary digital experiences in this metaverse landscape?
Yeah, so F5's on a mission to deliver, secure, and optimize every app and every API anywhere, and that includes on-premise, in the cloud, or on the edge, with the goal to really help bring that digital world to life. The reality is we've pioneered this industry for over 25 years, helping industries navigate from Web 1.0 to Web 2.0, and now we're actively engaging with organizations as they develop their Web 3 opportunities. And the result of this is we power half the world's applications across all environments. And we do this by reducing the complexity with our unique ability to deploy any architectural and operational model by building application and network services that are flexible, programmable, and automated. And F5 is really the only company that both delivers and secures application, which gives our customers this unique ability to secure the infrastructure they have, adapt it when that infrastructure change, and be able to respond quickly as threat vectors evolve. So, for example, as part of our strategy, we've removed the complexity from all the security parameters that were on the traditional web application firewalls and API protection with our recommended configurations of our WAP or web application API and application SaaS platform, which means that whether it's a telco or large enterprise or any vertical in India, F5 can onboard the application instantaneously, something that was not available in the industry prior to that. And that basically means that companies can come on board in learning mode really quickly, in minutes versus weeks.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. So, in addition to this, what are the strategies and best practices that you would suggest that businesses can implement to strengthen their security posture, their IT security infrastructure?
Yeah. And as I mentioned, security and privacy must really become foundational to securing the metaverse environments, meaning that as organizations look at their IT strategy, they really need to shift left to embed security in the code from the beginning. And so there's a lot of different things that organizations can do. I'm going to give 5 primary tips to start with to simplify things. My first tip would be to treat metaverse as another channel in both their business and security strategy. So for example, you have a strategy for securing your mobile channel, your web channel. You may have a physical channel like your branch or store. Treat the meta channel as another channel and apply the playbooks that you have for the channels already in existence to this one to simplify the security strategy. So for example, things that might already be in your playbook that you really need to think about how it applies to this channel are consider user interoperability across your own channel, and so that you truly know your customers, but also consider what that looks like as they navigate across other metaverse spots. So this includes understanding your approach to blending and securing digital and physical identities, if that's within your traditional business model. And what does that decentralized identity attribute really mean for you? So for example, an attribute should be able to be carried from forum to forum. So if someone purchases those fancy NFT digital sneakers and claims that part of their digital identity, they should be able to wear those not only in your forum, but also in other forums as well. And again, that's a very simplistic example, but it carries through for other identity attributes. So what this also means is many traditional infrastructure architectures also lack that visibility as they were built on assumption that intermediaries such as switches and proxies and security devices could inspect traffic and evaluate application payloads, which often caused frustration in the quest to find the root cause of outages and application performance degradation. You need to think about that too as you move into the metaverse. So while treating the metaverse as another channel, enterprises must also secure and make sure they have that monitoring capability within their digital enterprise architecture. For example, F5 provides deep packet inspection, layer 3 firewall, layer 4 to 7 web application firewalls, bot protection, AI with AI-based intelligence, DDoS protection on-premise in the cloud, API protection, API gateways, which all provide that layer of visibility across their infrastructure. Those are the types of things organizations need to think about. The second tip would be, understanding the threats that might come across within their business model. And that means there are centralized control points, even in the metaverse, that can be exploited. An example of this would be a poorly designed app that could lead to abuse from bots or vulnerability at the code level. So this is where looking at a zero trust architecture security model built on the core principles of verifying every user and device, both inside and outside the organization, before granting access. So businesses really need to think about that never trust, always verify, continuously monitor approach. For example, if as an avatar is engaging within their metaverse environment and they move from room to room within the environment, they might require different permissions as they go from room to room. Think about a healthcare organization. So this is where the continuous authentication and verification can provide that probability of risk based on that user's permissions and activities that they're doing to detect malicious behavior. The third thing to consider is around privacy and compliance. I know we spoke about that briefly. You need to assume that the regulations and compliance principles still apply to the metaverse, even though they may not be explicitly stated in there. So for example, if you need to comply with GDPR, you also should do that. You should assume that India's new cybersecurity data protection rules apply in this case. You need to assume that if you're in the financial services industry, the RBI cybersecurity framework applies to this environment as well. If you're selling goods and services with credit cards, PCI compliance still applies. So even though it may not deliberately say it, assume it does. The fourth would be around third-party code vulnerabilities. Metaverse is basically a giant ecosystem of third parties, which will continue to be exploited, and it needs to become part of their strategy. So as an organization, if you already have a third-party governance process, like you create a SBOM or software bill of material for your other channels, you need to ensure you do it for the metaverse as well, to ensure you have visibility on all those potential points of vulnerability. And the final thing is you need to realize that security is not a do-it-yourself project. It really does take a community. So my recommendation would be work with trusted advisors who understand this space to not only help you develop your business models, but also your strategy and governance models to ensure that they're both secure and seamless, and also become part of the solution. This is a great opportunity to get ahead of an emerging market in becoming involved with industry groups like the Metaverse Standards Forum or the Open Metaverse Alliance or the XR Safety Initiatives are just one of many types of examples of industry associations that are really focused on interoperability, standardization, and security from the start. And security is never a done state. So being engaged with that, you can learn from your peers and you can help set the future of technology.
So very deep insights you have given, very valid points you have mentioned. So means coming to F5, Can you also please talk about your recent business achievements in terms of your business expansion, or maybe your revenue growth, customer acquisition, or maybe market share? So some of your recent business achievements highlights.
Yeah, so FI has been on a continued trajectory to grow our business, to expand our presence within the software and the software side of the market. So we have dramatically increased year over year from our hardware to our software in our recent earnings report, and we can forward you the information toward that. And that we continue with that strategy through recent acquisitions and rolling out technologies such as our new distributed cloud app API protections offering, which is a cloud workload protection that expands application observability and protection to cloud native infrastructures. And this company, ThreatStack, that we acquired, that provided us with that technology, was really intended to help build out F5's strategy to secure APIs as organizations continue to extend their strategy as well. And this technology allows the ability to manage and protect applications from security threats by detecting threats in real time across the entire infrastructure stack, guarding against emerging and unpredicted threats by collecting telemetry, and then combining the blend of rules as well as machine learning to detect threats in real time. So that's just one of many strategic areas as we are building out our product strategy going into the future as well.
Very good. So I would also like to understand your top 5 focus areas and maybe your plans for expansions over the next 2 to 5 years.
Yeah. Well, F5 is going to continue to expand our securing apps and APIs everywhere strategy. And what that means will be continue to look at emerging technologies and ways, such as the conversation around Metaverse, as ways we can continue to secure organizations as they build out their strategy. So we're going to continue to build upon that. We're going to continue to build upon leveraging intelligence to simplify and automate most of the abilities that organizations have. So, for example, we know that a lot of organizations are currently having talent shortage challenges. And so part of our product strategy is really looking at ways we can help complement an organization's existing IT stack, but also staff, with ways we can automate and simplify as much as possible. And, for an example, when we're working with a lot of organizations, we're asking them about ways and helping them understand ways that they can understand how bots are impacting their business's bottom line. So we've conducted a bot business impact assessment we're doing for free for organizations, so they can understand how are these types of threats impacting their bottom line, and what are the ways that they can do to automate. So as we're going into looking at the economy, we're looking at ways to empower organizations to not only have a cyber resiliency but also economic resiliency.
Very good. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you for having me.